Yohana De Leon. I'm glad that all the women are here after the crazy election that we had. And I'm glad to see women here at this political forum eager to organize with us. So raise your hand if you have seen or felt the attacks on women's rights for the last 6 months. Yeah, all of us, even men too. Women have recently been experiencing a surge in institutionalized sexism. This sexist discrimination comes from both the media and the mouth of politicians, making large strides against women. As you heard during the debates, politicians show no real interest in women's equality. While they fought during the election season, they attacked and degraded women with violent anti-feminist rants in their attempt to win votes. They don't really care if our rights disappear forever. These rants can easily turn into legislative attacks on women that strip away our rights that we have won throughout the years through militant struggle. Who can forget when Rush Limbaugh denied Georgetown Law student Sandra Fluke to speak about affordable and accessible contraception for students this past February? Limbaugh's demonstration of ignorance in understanding how birth control pills work quickly ignited anger throughout the country. He repeatedly called her a slut and a prostitute for wanting affordable contraceptives. Apparently, any woman who has sex or uses contraceptives is a slut, according to him. After his talk, he said, "I chose the wrong words in my analogy of the situation." As a matter of fact, Limbaugh comments created a mounting backlash of anger among women and supporters of women's rights. One of the most insulting and degrading comments was made in August when Missouri Representative Todd Akin made various sexist comments. I'm sure you all remember the famous quote that infuriated women nationwide. Legitimate rape rarely results in pregnancy. Paul Ryan, in an interview, followed Akin's quote by saying, "Rape is just another method of conception." From Akin's ignorance allegation to Joe Walsh's "Who can't name one instance in which abortion is needed to save the life of a mother." It is clear that many politicians support sexist and discriminatory laws. In March, the House of Representatives in Georgia was debating on an anti-abortion bill that would ban abortions after 20 weeks, even in cases of rape or a dead or genetically mutated fetus. Georgia House Bill HB 954 threatens to put an obstetrician in jail for providing care for any pregnancy with complications after 20 weeks. Georgia State Representative Terry England compared a non-viable pregnancy to dead animals. He had said, since farmers have to deliver stillborns from cows, pigs, and sheep, that there is no reason for women to be treated any different. In May 2012, more than 2,000 members of the Kansas House of Representatives supported an amendment bill that would have authorized a sales taxes on abortions by limiting late-term abortions. The bill dictated that personhood starts for when life begins. It also would have allowed pharmacists to refuse to dispense birth control at all cases. In Texas, lawmakers refused funding for the Texas Women's Health Program in order to deny funds for Planned Parenthood. Governor Rick Perry made a statement praising the court's decision by stating, "Today's ruling affirms yet again that in Texas the Women's Health Program has no obligation to fund Planned Parenthood and other organizations that perform or promote any abortions. In Texas, we choose life, and we will immediately begin defunding all abortion affiliates to honor and uphold that choice." Paul Ryan and Todd Akin both partnered on a personhood bill prohibiting abortions and birth control pills, and Senate candidate Richard Murdoch of Indiana said, "I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize that life is a gift from God." And I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that is something that God intended to happen. Using religion to justify the women who have been raped to keep their children is inhumane. Additionally, many women, especially those who are undocumented, cannot afford childcare and prenatal care and social services. The problem with attacks such as these is that it not only restricts a woman's rights to abortion, but the right to basic healthcare services that millions of poor women depend on. These health programs like Planned Parenthood provide sexual education, breast exams, HIV and other STD tests, and family services for women and men. Of course, the government's priority is to spend money on things that will benefit the wealthy. This means war and prisons will always supersede social services and education. Even President Obama has placed women's rights in the crosshairs in order to reach a budget deal prior to the deadline and a government shutdown. This past April, Obama told House Speaker John Boehner, "John, I will give you DC abortion. This is no secret. It was printed by the Washington Post." He essentially used abortion as a bargaining chip. Democrats have presented themselves as the supporters and protectors of women's rights, despite the fact evidence such as this shows the contrary. During the presidential election, the two candidates, Governor Mitt Romney and President Barack Obama, were asked questions concerning women's equality. One of the questions asked what the candidates would do to rectify the inequalities in the workplace, specifically regarding females making only 72% of what their male counterparts earn. Romney said, "We took a concerted effort to go out and find women who had backgrounds that could be qualified to become members of our cabinet. I went to a number of women's groups and said, 'Can you help us find folks?' And they brought us whole binders full of women." He then inferred that women have not been reliable or flexible in the workplace, but they are good for coming home to cook dinner. Obama's replied to the question by stating, "This is one of the reasons why one of the first bills I signed was something called the Ledbetter Bill." He didn't really answer the question, but told a long story about his personal life. It should be noted that Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act of 2009 did not change the unequal pay gap between men and women. The act was merely a quick fix which extended women's rights to file a lawsuit against their employer. Women still suffer in the workplace. Under Obama's re-election, women still face attacks and discriminatory laws. Obama won the election, but Florida Amendment 6 still passed, mandating that no public funds will be used for abortions. This law will prohibit services and funding for health insurance, plans that cover abortion, an exception of rape or threat to the life of a woman. But the amendments regulation don't stop there. The biggest component is that women will lose the right to privacy. The right to privacy is currently protected by the Florida's Constitution, but it will not disappear. Parental notification will take place as soon as possible, which can place young women in danger. This means that underage women in Florida have now lost the right to make decisions with their doctors. Some forms of contraception will also be banned under Amendment 6. Amendment 6 is an attack on women in Florida by sexist politicians. In this perspective, what difference did it make that Obama won? Our rights are still under attack. An attack in one state is an attack in all states. An injury to one is an injury to all. And after the elections, women organizers from WORD are still mobilizing and organizing locally and nationally to defend women's rights. We will not be defeated. Join WORD, organize for WORD, and volunteer for WORD. We are not asking for these rights. We are demanding these rights.